Back with another short tutorial. This one is going to be a little bit longer because I wanted to show you how I start off making um, just a regular traveler's notebook from a pair of jeans. So right now I've got the last leg of the jeans. I've made actual several planners from this one pair of jeans, and I actually have got to cut um, a piece of material that will fit the Illustrated Faith size traveler's inserts. Now, this is the size that I've been wanting, and it took me a while to find it. Tried to search online, and I made a couple of templates, but they would always end up being a little too wide. I think this is perfect. I kind of wanted something a little skinnier than this, but I think these inserts also fit well in the Midori, and which I have several Fodoris that I've made over the past few months. I've only been crafting close to a year now, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I do pretty good. Everybody keeps telling me you should open a store, so that might be possible in the near future. I don't know, but we shall see. So with this material, I'm just going to flip it over really quick and show you guys something that where the seam is and where the material that I've already used. Of course, you can see it doesn't go all the way down to the edge, right? So there's really, and by measuring the length from the bottom of the seam up to here, it's not enough room unless I go up here. I actually do need more material, top to bottom and side to side. I really wanted to use the bottom, the edge of the planner, but it doesn't really seem like it's going to work out in my favor this go round, although I could be wrong. I've got to have two pieces so that one, yeah, it's not going to happen. I have too much hangover, and this seam would definitely, it's just too close for comfort because I need room to grow, and that's just not going to cut it for me. So I wanted to use the bottom edge of the jeans, but it's just not going to work out. So I have one or two options. I can go ahead and cut the outside and then line the inside with something else, or I can come up uh, this way on the jeans. You lay them out and make sure it's got to be flat. It can't have any buckles or anything in it. It's got to be totally flat. Go ahead and lay those jeans down. Iron them out if you have to. Use some wrinkle relief spray if you don't want to iron. And then you go ahead and you lay it flat, your insert, whatever insert you're going to use, you lay it flat. And what I do, because I know everybody does theirs different, I go ahead and get as close to the seam as possible. Don't really, because of the cut of any jean, um, you can see kind of where the grain goes, and it's not always parallel with the seam. In this case, it can be a good idea to go ahead and do this and let this seam right here become a part of the spine of your book, um, if you so desire, in which case you would turn it this way. Do you see? Okay. And so you would want to do it like this instead of the opposite direction. And then so what I'm doing is I'm going to take my pen, and I know you guys can't see this part because of the way I have the camera, but what I did was I make a little mark and right where I'm supposed to cut it, but really I'm going to give myself an inch. And if you can't eyeball an inch, just use your ruler. An inch from, it could be a half an inch or a whole inch. I like to do a whole inch just because I know I love chunky notebooks. And then I take this all the way up to where I made that first mark. And I make an arrow pointing that way so I'll know that this is the top. This up here is the very top of the book. This is the top. I'll have a little bit of hangover just to protect my book, but I really needed that extra inch over here. because I really love a chunky notebook. So now that I have this cut here, and then this right here is going to be my last one because it's kind of going to be special. I think this one, I don't really care for a whole lot of embellishments and whatnot, so I'm just going to leave it as plain as possible. It's going to be kind of difficult for me to cut just because I've got to use a razor blade, and I'm cutting down into two pieces. I'm going to need also a patch because I've gone over my edging on this side. The way that the inside in here is, the materials don't match. But at least we have the outside matching, and for right now, that's good as gold. So let's go ahead and get our Stanley. And you guys have to excuse me because I really did rearranged my office earlier. So I have things in here, but it's just not where I left them. And it's weird that my Stanley isn't where it should be because I never move it. So I'm looking for it. I may have to stop the video because it's kind of strange to not have the most dangerous cutting utensil that you use right in front of your eyesight. Rest assured, there are no children around or anything. I just find this very strange that it's not in my eyesight. So, here it is. I was about to say, let's cut it. Let's cut the video and search party unite. So get your ruler as straight as you can, and I'm going to start from the outer edge. And I always hold the ruler down where I'm cutting at as much as possible, using as much force as I possibly can, and then I just move with where I cut. I put more pressure on the ruler than I do on the blade because I don't want the material underneath the ruler to move. Okay, so that's what's happening right now. And if you guys hear a strange noise in the background, that's either a train passing or the fan because it is hot. And as you can see, this is going pretty well. Now, the reason I do it like this instead of using scissors is because I like that frayed look. And I think I've told you guys that a couple of times. For those of you who have been watching the Denim series, I call it. I really didn't know that I was going to be able to get these many planners out of one pair of jeans. I just didn't know. Yes, I love traveler's notebooks. All of a sudden I fell in love with the traveler's notebook. Now, for those of you who started off with me, you knew that I was just like crazy about the Happy Planner. And the traveler's notebook, however, just gave me planner peace. Like I like the Happy Planner. I think the Happy Planner is great, but I love traveler's notebooks. I love them. I mean, oh my gosh, it just so much freedom, and I can design what I want. I can change up when I want. My inserts will fit in, whatever cover. So if I want denim today and then I want to turn around and have leather tomorrow, if I want to tri-fold one day, whatever. I mean, it's endless. And I absolutely love it. I'm just like, oh, I don't know what I was waiting on. I don't know what I was waiting on, but I'm just like in love with my traveler's notebook. In absolute love. So yeah. Love, 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 love. So I'm just checking out my material down here. And of course I'm gonna have some material that's just not gonna make it, and that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. So right now what I'm doing is I'm getting this line lined up with the line on my self-healing mat, and then I'm just gonna do the same thing to get the extra material off the edge here. All right, and this material, don't throw it away because you're about to use it in a few minutes. Once you get your stitch adhesive, the brand I use is called Stitch Witchery. Um, Keep that handy because we're about to use it with a hot steam iron. Once again, I'm using my Illustrated Faith as a template, and I'm just gonna line it up and make sure that I have just the right amount of hangover on the top. Oops. What you don't want to do is do what I do and ruin your stuff. All right, so I've got to turn it this way, and I've got to use my straight edge one more time, and I'm going to go right underneath my mark this time. I don't need that much hangover on the top and bottom, but I do from side to side because as my planner grows, I don't want there to be any part that doesn't hang over, if you know what I mean. I don't want it to be too short, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So here we go. We're cutting again. Very sharp blade. So you have to be extremely careful. Put a little bit of pressure. You're going to use anywhere from 2 to 5 cuts per every couple of inches, just like you see here. It is going to give you a little bit of a tattered edge, which for me, that's what I like. But if you don't like it, just use a pair of scissors and it'll give you a straighter edge. Gotta use a little elbow grease. And make sure that you don't move this edge because your material, as you can see, is going to move. And you've probably noticed that with every cut I've made. Hey, her denim is not being still. But as long as the denim underneath the ruler and on this side is not moving, you're fine. Doesn't matter what this material over here is doing. As long as the material under your straight edge isn't moving, we are good as gold. So I'm down here at my very last cut. All right. Thank God for self-healing mats. Because as many cuts as that took, I promise you, we would have ruined a table or something. Self-healing mats will change your life. A friend of mine on Periscope told me that, and she was right. So, and I kind of don't like all the stuff that's left on the mat, but it doesn't mess with the performance. It's just my OCD messing with me. So, all right. So now you can see what we're working with on the underside, which actually, what's going to happen is I'm going to cut these frays off. These are a little too long for my taste. So we're going to go ahead and cut those off, but we're going to leave the tattered and worn look and just get those extra frillies off of here. You know. And it actually is going to look a lot neater than the other planners that I have done, just because I'm going to test drive this one for the rest of the week and see how it works. So basically, you know, this is the size that we've got going on right now. So I'm going to take my Illustrated Faith, and I'm just laying it in here just to see, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to lay this down and see if I can make the edges go all the way out. The planner edge needs to be like this. This is cutting it. This is really, really stretching it. This is really stretching it to the extreme. It really is. My fear is that I'm not going to have that extra inch, so I'm going to take my seam back. Now, if I push the seam up, as you can see, I mean, it's perfect. The problem I'm having is when I put this notebook in here, I don't have enough edge to grow. So the more books I put in here, the shorter this is going to be, and then my books are going to hang out like that, and that's not what we want. So I am going to use some patchwork really quick, and it's not going to hurt the look. However, it's going to enhance it. So those scraps that I told you not to throw away, we're going to see how we can make this work. And it looks like this edging right here might be a perfect fit. I'm going to go ahead and lay edge for edge right here. And I'm going to flip this over and just see about where I need to cut. Right now I'm not cutting, I'm just going to draw a line exactly where I want to cut this material off at. Because this is the inside, this is not the outside, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So you can see that I already cut, and then I just want to take my scissors and just cut on the dotted line, basically. Because all we're doing is making a patch to fit the part that was left off. And it's going to be perfect. You'll see why in just a second. Does not have to be perfect once again. It just has to fit. So I'm going to go ahead and put that edge right here, just like we said before. Make this kind of overlap so it kind of looks like we have. And then this is a bit much, so I want to just take that off. That was a bit much. I want that end on here, so I got to take this off as well. Okay, so this is going to be the inside. When I open it up, it's going to have that little edge right there, some little frayed stuff. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. So it's time to lay the adhesive down. But I also, now if you don't have an iron, let me just tell you this. Don't worry, if you don't have an iron, it's quite all right. What you can do is you can use some E6000 or some Mod Podge and lay this down and let the adhesive dry overnight. It's totally fine. As a matter of fact, I might use that method with one of these over here. These also come in sheets. So because I had 4 or 5 of these just laying around, I decided I'm not going anywhere to. Now, I have seen this method also done with double-sided tape. The double-sided tape that you get to use on heavy-duty stuff. And I think Coupon to Provide did that method along with a glue gun. So if you have a hot glue gun, that's a good method too. So to keep it no-sew, I'm just using the heat activated adhesive. And like I said, my brand is called Stitch Witchery. But any of those brands, pretty much at any sewing place, is fine, I'm sure. Some of them feel a little bit different, but again, it's totally fine. You just kind of take the pieces, they look almost like see-through cotton, and you just tear them. You don't have to cut them, they're not hard or anything, and you just lay them all over the inside to make sure that everything is pretty much covered. And it's kind of like, at the end of the day, you're going to have a little layer of cotton in there, and you want to make sure that the side that's laying down, the side that's going to catch all the stuff, is completely covered. You don't want anything left out. Nothing. You want it to be, you want to be able to feel it almost when you're using your traveler's notebook. And so, and as you can see, it doesn't take that long. We're almost done. And then we're just going to use our iron. I've already put water in the iron, so it's totally ready to go. And let me see, I need one more strip about right here. After a minute, it gets kind of hard to see. You're just like, wait, what? Look at it. It's like, it gets like washi tape. It's like, oh goodness. And so I'm just going to line it up just a little bit more. I don't want to leave any edges undone here. All right, and so this is about the last strip, so I'm just going to lay it in there for a little extra. These things right here, if I don't have a use for them, I throw them away, but they make really good smaller washi holders or just whatever you want to use those for. Okay, so now here's my edge that we had to cut, that patch. So I'm going to lay it down first because this edge right here, I want it covered up. I don't want anybody to be able to see that. And so I'm just going to take a little bit of that edge right here, just a little bit, and I'm going to cover it up just a little bit, just a little bit. It's going to probably flap up a little bit after this process, but you can just glue that down with something if you don't want to, if you don't want it, you know, it's not going to bother me, but, you know, for some people it might. Okay, let's get our iron. Like I said, our iron already has water in it and it's ready to steam. It's already hot. So we're just going to put it down. And my iron is funny acting. It steams when it wants to. It takes a few seconds, but the steam to me is what makes the is what makes it go. And so that's what I like about it. The steam is what makes it, and everything just meshes together because steam is so hot. And it moves. You know, this heat right here is good. It's okay, but the steam actually, you know, it moves. And it actually makes it adhere faster. So this is pretty hot. This is a Black & Decker, the classic. This iron actually is fairly new, but my friends on Periscope last night were like, "Oh my God, she has one of those old back in the day irons." This iron actually is kind of new. Um, it's probably about a year old or so, maybe a year and a half, maybe not quite 2 years. Okay, and so I'm moving around. When my light starts blinking red and black, I know the steam is ready to come out. And this moves the process along faster. If it was just, you know, heat by itself and no steam, you're probably going to spend about 20 minutes trying to get it to adhere. But that's not a bad thing. It's really not, because once this is sealed, it's sealed permanently. You can get it wet, you can wash it, whatever, and it's sealed permanently. So that's what we're looking for. You can hem any dress or pants or anything with this stain stuff, and it works wonderfully. So I totally recommend it for anybody. If you were wondering, some of the new crafters will wonder why she moved her work mat. And it's because it's not heat resistant. So that was a mistake that I made. I got my mat at Hobby Lobby. It was like $11.99, and then I was able to get 40% off of it. So I was trying to save money, which is still is a good mat because it's self-healing, meaning that when I cut into the mat, it doesn't remain cut. Like it's just, you know, it's a mat all day, every day. And then the other side is practically brand new as well. So when one side of the mat, you know, is too old, then you can flip it over. The ruler's not on the other side, but it'd be great if it was. I wonder why they didn't think of that. But great mats. They do have different colors or whatever. They have the glass mats. And I thought about that, but I probably would have broke it by now because, you know, heat. But they have those which are the self-healing. They have the heat resistant also. There's also a heat resistant mat. Um, but I almost bought it because they're only like $5 at Hobby Lobby the other day. But I was afraid that if I used the mat that it wouldn't protect this mat from the heat. You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, no, that's okay. I may go back and look into it again, or I may just get a whole nother mat altogether. I have two work tables. There's another table over there with my sewing machine. So I actually can still use that mat over at my sewing machine table. So it's probably in my best interest to get another mat. In any case, it's time to check. Ha! That steam is awesome, isn't it? It's time to check and see how this did. I'm just going to steam it a little bit on this side too. But so far, so good. Y'all know me. I like the, beat up look, the everyday, I just wore these jeans a minute ago type look. So to me, this is so amazing and so perfect. I'm in love with denim. I think denim is, amazing, but I don't like to wear jeans. So there you go. One of my friends asked me last night, "You wear jeans, right?" And I was like, "No, I hate jeans." I love the material. I think denim is, awesome. I just don't like to wear jeans or whatever. I have eczema, and so my skin is terrible. Has absolutely nothing to do with this video. It's just a fact of life. So we're 26 minutes in, and we've already got our material cut. We've got our back and front going, and now it's time for us to check with our journal. So I'm going to place it where the middle would be and ends together. And here you can see that I have just a little bit of hangover. Remember, we left about an inch. And so this probably will be good for 6 books, maybe the same size. I'm not going to be able to get a whole lot of books in here, which is kind of disappointing to me because I wanted it to be super chunky. But we'll definitely see. So for right now, there's no bling or anything added on here, but there will be here in a minute. I don't know what I'm going to do to the edges of this, but for right now, I do know that it's time to get the eyelets on here really quick, and I've already got some string cut and ready to go. So while I put this back, I am going to reach up somewhere and grab my eyelets. It always is like this. I'm always trying to find my stuff, you know? And I don't know why. Some people use washers, some people don't. I find that it's easier for me to use the washers. So I just make these little slits in the back of my boxes. I know you guys have seen that before. And I saw a method a few minutes ago where this lady used 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. I've been doing 3 for the last couple of days, but I'm going to try this method just because this is such a skinny traveler's notebook, and I just want to try it. Like, I just, want to try it out just to see if I can do it. So I've got 2 eyelets and 2 washers for the top, and 2 eyelets and 2 washers for the bottom. And I don't know how that washer got in the eyelet portion, but I'm going to put it back where it belongs. And it looks like I need to go shopping for some more eyelets. I ruined 2 of them earlier in my earlier video. It just made me so mad, but I was trying to get it, right, and I just couldn't, and it just burned my britches. I was like, are you kidding me right now? So I ended up having to get a pair of tweezers. So I have them over here just in case I need them again, because I do not want to ruin any of this material. So, and you don't have to use the eyelets. I do it because that's just what I like, but you do not have to use these eyelets. So what you want to do is you want to make sure your blocks are set on the right setting. And I've got mine on the tallest so I can really, punch it hard and it can stay. And then you also want your holes to be set in the right place. So I'm actually going to be using the smaller hole punch, which is over here on this side. You see the smallest one? I'm going to be using that one only because, okay, only because it seems to fit the eyelet better. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and find a crease. And I will do this with my hand and not with the iron, because I just want to make sure that edges together, everything, is set in stone. And I want to make sure that this is the outside that I want. Do I want this at the top or this at the bottom? You know what I mean? Exactly, how I want it. And I think this is the way that I want it to look. I am going to round the edges as well. I want it to have a uniform look all the way around. So I'll be using We Are Memory Keepers for that as well. But this is it. This is the look that I want. So far, so good with rounded edges. And so now that that crease is in there, it's easy for me to mark where I actually want the eyelets. And I'm just making a couple of marks with my ink pen, and I'm eyeballing it. I'm using the method that's one right on top of the other, and so I've never done that before, so fingers crossed that I get it right. And I'm using the very smallest hole, and I think I'm going to, I have to kind of see, for me, and I push this all the way back because I'm eyeballing or whatever. This is just my planner. It's not for a client or anything. So for me, I just like things to be simple. And I like to try new things. And so even though I've never done this method before, I'm hoping that I get it right on the first go round, because I would like to make more planners, like this. So now that I have my holes punched, I'm going to go ahead and start with my eyelets. Now, I remember saying that I wanted this to be my outer side and this in, and so this is going to be my outside, which means my eyelet here needs to be on the outside. So I'm just going to take it, put it there. Can you see that? And then so I'm going to take a washer and put it on the opposite side. And then so the tall part and the short part. The short part goes on the bottom because it smashes. It does not move. Where the tall part will, drop. And so I can't actually do it and show you guys. So I just wanted to show you exactly, what happened had I done it right. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get that washer on there this time, because it just, my washers all day, the last two tutorials and my Periscope class, it just did not go right. But anyway, that's the first eyelet, okay? So I've got an extra, washer over here just floating around. So I'm going to do it again, using that top and bottom method instead of side to side. And this time I'm going to try to get my eyelet to stay put. Okay, I heard it fall in. You wait for the snap, and that's what that looks like, top and bottom. All right, let's do this again. And my hair is actually wrapped. That's not a beanie on top of my head. This is just, it's a hair wrap because I didn't want to comb my hair, and I keep getting in the shot. So please forgive me for my raggediness. So once again, I'm going to try to get that eyelet on the bottom, and I'm going to try to keep that washer there and wait for that snap. And we have one more to go. So actually talking it out is helping, because earlier on Periscope, I just looked ridiculous. I mean, I was so upset about these eyelets not going on here right, and teaching people how to do this, and then I look like, and they've been following me for a year, so they know that I know how to do this, but I think most of them felt sorry for me because I'm getting over a migraine, and they were like, oh, poor Twana. Okay, so we've got the top and the bottom done, and it's time to string it up. So I think these are the strings that I have that actually are for the books. These are for, yeah, these are all for the books. So I use stretch lace, and it's not in there. That's all of my cellophane, my punches, my pencils. I have everything so organized in this room that it's ridiculous. I have all of my stamps over there, and I had it in my hand earlier today. Here it is, right by my pearls. So I have this, and I think, yeah, it's almost time for me to go and buy some more because this is the last one I've got. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use the lilac or whatever. I would use the blue, but I'm not feeling it right now, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm just gonna take, and I had thought about, before I do this, I had cut a piece of string off earlier, and it didn't work for one of the other planners, and I'm wondering because I'm just wondering if this actually will work. I know I'm taking a risk doing this on YouTube, and I'm actually filming, so as soon as I'm filming directly into YouTube. I didn't want to go live because it's like 2:30 in the morning, but just so you know. And I was in bed. I was literally in bed, and I could not sleep because I had this idea. And so I had to literally get up. And if I don't get up and get it done, then I don't get any rest. Like I just won't sleep. And so I had to literally get up and at least try this. Just try this method because, oh man. I was like, I got it. I know what to do now. And I'm like, because it's all working with denim. And like I said, I've never actually worked with denim as far as anything like this. For dresses or skirts, a wrap skirt or something like that, yeah. Or, repurposing jeans into something else, yeah. But never anything like this. This right here is a challenge for me. And I actually love it. Like I'm loving how this is, turning out. Like this is just one of those things in life that you have to do. You have to try it. Um and it may not, be like, I don't know, being an astronaut or, jumping out of an airplane or whatever, but for me, this was just like something that I had to do. My head's itching. I think I'm having a hot flash, or as some women like to call them, power surges. I don't know. But anyway, I figured since I had already cut this, and all this rubber band thingy, all this is two headbands that we like to call keep it together bands. And if I may, I keep mine on this little mechanism that I made. This is a napkin holder and this is a butter dish. And I just glued them together with E6000. I actually was using this for makeup palettes and it just wasn't working out. So, but they make great hairband holders, and I use all these for keep it together bands for all the planners that I make. So I thought, why not? Repurpose. That's what I like to do. So I'm pulling this as tight as I can. If you want to, you can reinforce your rubber bands with E6000 or a hot glue gun. I know some people don't like to cut their strings. I don't like my strings. I don't like these things. So I cut them. If they're long enough, I keep them and repurpose them. If not, I just toss them. So that way I get to keep my lilac, and I already have those other rubber bands that are already cut that I cut from this. And I just use the basic stretch lace from the Dollar Tree. So it's nothing, mega. Put this eyelet back up there because I didn't need that. And y'all know I like to clean as I go. So lock my little mechanism and put it back in its proper place. And so now we're halfway done. Look at this. Now I've got to get my edger. And I'm going to go ahead, and I need my short scissors now for this. I'm going to go ahead and start rounding my edges off, and I'm going to use it all the way open on the 1/2 inch. And I'm so sorry, this is taking longer than normal. Now, I did this earlier, and it did fine. Now, I will tell you, cutting denim, it's not going to cut it all the way off. You are going to have a little tag, so all you have to do is take your scissors and just go all the way around to cut that tag off, and it will come off easy, breezy, beautiful, and your edges are rounded, okay? Pretty, huh? Turned out really good. I just want that a little more defined. But I mean, it looks just like if you bought it out of the store. I'm loving the results. This is going to be a really great planner. I mean, a really great planner. Like, I love it when a plan comes together. And I like to check both of my sides because the denim is not the same on both sides. Remember, we had to, add a patch and all that good stuff. I promise you, living in the country, I get so paranoid because I always feel like there's a bug or something. It's like summer's coming and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I need to go buy off and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if you noticed, but I flipped it over already to get both of those sides cut. And like I said, sometimes, it just doesn't cut evenly because both of the sides are different. We meshed these together. And so this is the last one, all the way open, a 1/2 inch. This one kind of popped all the way through, but I think I'm gonna have to, yeah, it's not catching it like I want it to, but it's okay. It's because one side is a little bit denser than the other. This is the side we had to patch together, so no problem. All right, so now our edges are all rounded. Our stretchy string, our rubber band is in place. It is looking so uniform and so freaking perfect. I can't even stand it. So I'm going to put these two wonderful Illustrated Faith books in here. Like I feel like I want to go and get some more Illustrated Faith books, but I'm gonna make my own on a completely different video. I'm sitting here like, oh my God, I want more. So you take your books, and some people do the ends of the books. I like to do the middle. I have actually seen that done before, so you go ahead and I put that little tag at the bottom or whatever. I just don't like those, but it is what it is. And you can see that you have both of these edges, 2 books on 1 rubber band. And then you can just take it and slide it under. And now you have both of the books on a band. And there's your traveler's notebook. Now, there's several different ways. If you want to take more stretchy string and just make yourself a keep it together band, you can. We have keep it together bands over here, and I don't know which one I'm going to use because I use the blue for the inside, but I have so many different ones. Like these right here are super cool. They're some of the best headbands that I've ever seen. They already have a knot on it, so if you don't want to punch a hole, in the middle of whatever, you don't have to. You can wrap this thing around. I've got one that's like extra loose, and you can literally take this and just wrap it around just like that. And it is so cool. So, I mean, you can literally, there's like options if you don't want to punch that hole in the middle. There are options. You don't have to, have it like that. I've seen so many different variations. I mean, make it your own. I actually see a gray one over here. And I don't think I've used. I only have one. No, I have 2. Okay. I was about to say, oh my God, bummer. I think that right there is nice. So I think I will do my hole in the middle. And for me, using an X-Acto knife or, something super sharp just is perfect. I don't even have to move my books if I don't want to. And again, I just kind of eyeball it to see where the middle is. And go ahead and just punch it through. It's really that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. I know some of y'all are like, it's not that easy for me, but it is. It's that easy for everybody. I'm looking around and I don't see my X-Acto knife anywhere, and I want to, um, yeah, here it is. Okay. I was about to say I want to do this as quickly as possible. I'm 45 minutes into the video, and I never do videos this long ever. So I'm just going to kind of swivel the end around both ways, and that gets it a little frayed in there, if you can see that. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. And then I'm going to take this band, and I'm not going to cut it yet, but this silver part right here, I'm going to leave it inside. And then, so that means that I have to take this part and poke it through. And again, I'm just going to use, something sharp, but not, totally crazy, and just poke that through and pull it. And once again, get this lined up to where it's looking perfect and looking good. And now I've got to size my band. We're almost done. I think it needs to be pulled in a little bit more, just a little bit. And then so now after that, all you have to do is cut it. And I think it may be just right for when I add more books in here. So even though my hangover is not as much, there's that part, is what I wanted it to be, I can see that it's going to have pretty good structure, especially with the top to bottom method. So um, taking a good hour or less than an hour to make this doesn't even bother me at all. I actually quite enjoyed my time filming this in real time for you guys. So when you get up in the morning and you see this new video, I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe and like it and share it with your friends and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish playing with this. Trying to get my little band to be perfect on the inside or whatever, and make some more booklets for this so I can thicken it up. And thanks again for hanging out with me. And I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys.